Let's do it.
Hi everyone, I'm Mahana.
And I'm Salim.
Welcome back to our first news updates episode in like a week.
Yeah, so we took the last week off because of finals. You know, how was it for you?
I got all of my final grades back so far, and I think I did pretty okay, except for one that I'm the most worried about.
Didn't come back.
It's not here yet, so.
I only got like one final grade back. But
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like biology, because it was like one of those automatic online things, and I'm happy with it. Yeah, I mean, I think it went pretty well. I mean, none of my finals were like super duper hard, just because it's like freshman year, and I'm not in like advanced, like I'm not in like AP classes or anything, but I'm like, yeah, I mean, we'll see. Obviously, I could have failed some.
Yeah.
And that
Our
would be
school,
sad,
like,
but,
I mean, it kind of depends on the school you go to, but most schools like don't let freshmen take APs.
Yeah, and they also
specially
like this year
request.
apparently they wanted to make them like 30 minutes to an hour, and they wanted to make them easier this year too. That's what one of my teachers told me.
Oh,
For,
I don't
like,
know.
regular
For
classes,
me, my
at
teachers
least.
were like, yeah, it's the same.
Yeah, because one of my teachers told me that for like regular classes, but I don't know.
I was trying to figure out how to make the audio better because we don't have like microphones that are close enough to our face. So should we just like hold this? Do you think?
I think we should.
Okay.
We can just do it like that.
All right.
Okay.
So let's dive into our first news update.
Mhm.
Our first news update is about something that I think is really important. It has to do with the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah.
And it is the story of Dante Wright and his murderer. It's another like police citizen
brutality type of thing.
So let's just get into like what happened and then like what's happening right now. So
Okay.
Dante Wright is like a young, I believe he was like a young father. I think he had a son. So he was actually pulled over for a traffic code violation because apparently he had like air fresheners dangling from his visors. Or not his visor, like you know, like the mirror that hangs on the top. Yeah, he had like an air freshener down from it, and then like a couple of police officers were like, "Let's pull him over."
Right.
So they pulled him over, which honestly, I think that's like kind of like a stupid reason to pull someone over.
I don't know. Like, I don't know the situation that well. I don't even understand. How's an air freshener hanging from your visor? I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
that's a weird situation.
yeah, but so they pulled him over, but when they Googled up his like name and license plate on one of their system not Googled, but you know, searched.
Yeah.
They found that he had like a warrant for a prior like a couple of like charges. I think it was like weapons, and he had like a couple of other things that he had like a warrant to be arrested. So they tried to arrest him because of the warrant. And by the way, like a warrant is like a document that says you can arrest someone.
Yeah, like basically it gives you the permission to arrest someone like at any time that you come across them or something.
And warrants also apply for like searching things. Like a police officer just can't come in and search your house. They would have to have a warrant to be able to do that.
It like organizes things better so we can, you know, I mean, at least the purpose of it is to organize things better. It doesn't always work out that way.
It's just to make sure that like someone doesn't come into your house and search your house for no reason.
Basically,
it's just for privacy mostly.
Yeah.
But once you get a warrant, you can do that. So they had a warrant to arrest him. He had a lot of struggle and he would not like yield to the police. He then like got back into his car, and this is where the most intense part happened. So one of the police officers there, Kim Potter, was seen on her like body camera footage, like from the police. They have cameras on them just to make sure that they're doing right things. So on that camera footage, you can see her taking out a pistol, like a gun, and saying, "Taser!" like exclamation mark Taser, just Taser, and then she shoots him in the chest. And then he, like, closes the door and drives away despite being shot in the chest. Yeah. And then Kim Potter, the lady who shot him, the officer who shot him, she responded with, "I just shot him, and he drove away." So then he, then drove, a couple of blocks away from the site of the shooting and crashed into another car and was pronounced dead at the scene.
So this wasn't a taser, I presume.
No. And that's just kind of where people are super mad. Because if she can mistake, she took out a pistol, but in the body camera footage, she's saying, "It's a taser, I'm going to tase you, taser."
Were there other police officers there, or was it just...
Yeah, I think there was 2 other police officers there, but she was the one that actually had the weapon.
Yeah.
And the thing about this is that tasers are bright yellow, and they're way lighter than pistols. So if she thought that she was pulling out a taser when it was actually a pistol, I don't necessarily believe that she could make such a big mistake.
I mean, it's a big mistake, especially when you've been working in an environment like the police force for so long.
She was working for 26 years.
And if it has, like, easy marks to be able to know, like, I get it if they look, like, almost exactly the same and you're just, like, panicking, but, like, if there's a fundamental difference and you've been working at it for a while, I feel like, I don't know. I mean,
because, like, if something's bright yellow and so much lighter than a pistol and it feels different than a pistol, how could you say that's a taser? That just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand people's frustration, definitely, because it's like, even if it was an honest mistake, it's still a mistake because someone died. And so either way, there should be consequences.
And no police officer that's been working in the force for 26 years, or even just like a day, should ever mistake a taser for a pistol. That's like a mistake that is unforgivable.
Mistake. That's a bad mistake. Like, you just can't do that.
And I honestly just have a hard time believing it's a mistake. Because, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But, so basically, there was actually a girl, like a woman next to him in the passenger seat while the whole thing played out. So, Dante Wright's mother, Katie Wright, said that, like, her son had called her, and, while he was being pulled over, so she heard a scuffle over the phone, and then she hung up, and when she called back, the woman in the passenger seat picked up the phone, and, like, told her that he had been shot. So,
oh my gosh.
During Black Lives Matter, people, like, really were like, how could a cop mistake a pistol for a taser? Like, what is happening?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and so, this was actually in Minnesota, where, like, very close to where George Floyd was killed.
Really?
So, a lot of people just think there's a huge issue with the Minnesota Police Department.
Like, certain areas have a specific issue, like concentration.
Yeah, they're just like, Minnesota's police department needs to go. Like, yeah. But anyway.
Needs some work.
So, Kim Potter, the officer who shot Dante Wright, is a 26-year-old veteran of the Brooklyn Center Police Department. She was 48 at the time. She resigned after this incident. But she was arrested on April 14th and was charged with first-degree manslaughter and second-degree manslaughter. So, her trial started, I believe on November 30th, but I might be wrong on that.
Okay.
But, so she took her, like, testimony recently, which is basically where you give, like, an account of what happened, like a witness kind of thing.
Kind of like,
Yeah. And so, she showed her video saying, like, I'll tase you, taser, taser, taser. It kind of seemed like she was trying to make it seem like she thought it was a taser, but if you're saying something so much...
so it's kind of like making it appear to the audience as if you don't know what it is, but like you're trying so hard that it's more like you're convincing them because you know it's not, you know.
Because like if you're about to tase someone, I don't think I'd be like, I'm tasing, taser, taser, taser. I'd just tase them, right?
I'm just really curious, like the other police that were like there, did they notice anything? Like, are they facing any charges either?
I'm not sure. I should look that up.
Because I know that is a thing sometimes. If you like bear witness to a crime like that and you let something like that happen when you know it's like wrong, then it is like you can be charged.
I don't think they did because it was just so fast that I don't know if they could have stopped her necessarily.
Yeah.
But she actually started crying during her testimony.
Yeah. I saw it on Instagram actually. Yeah.
She said, quote, "I'm sorry it happened. I'm so sorry. She did not plan to use any force that day and she was very distraught. Quote, I had shot somebody and I'd never done that. I didn't want to hurt anybody." End quote. So,
you know, it's really a tough situation because it's like there are two sides to the story. There are two different perspectives, and it's like...
But at the same time, it's like, how could you make that mistake?
Yeah, it's like you want to give a person the benefit of the doubt, but that's not always possible because it's like certain things you just... doesn't add up, you know? Like, someday, and even if it was an honest mistake, like she says it was, it's still punishable, you know? So either way, I think it's not a good... Not a good...
I actually, like, watched The Witness, and I, like, saw the trials, and she hasn't been, like, officially charged yet, because the trial isn't over, but I definitely think that she's going to be charged with at least second-degree manslaughter.
Second-degree,
which is, like, the, like... So third degree is, like, the least, and then second degree is, like kind of...
So,
planned.
So first degree is, like, you have a plan to murder someone and you literally murder them. Second degree is, like, you don't have a plan going into it, but you end up murdering someone.
Like, you had an intent.
With intention. And third degree is no intention, no plan. Like, you accidentally run someone over with a car type thing.
Yeah.
So,
So I definitely think she'll definitely be charged with it.
Yeah, I think second degree. Possibly first degree, actually, to be honest.
So, I'm sorry to Dante Wright's family, and I hope...
Yeah, I mean, it's awful. Like, as you were saying, like, his mom was on the phone, and they just had to tell her, like, your son was shot. That's not something anyone wants to hear. So.
I definitely think there needs to be some reform, and there should be, like, more training on how to distinguish tasers from pistols, which is kind of self-explanatory, but if it's happening, then it needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I think training will help, and I just think, like, you know, more organization to just, like, not... Sometimes in the moment, it's just this moment of panic, but it's, like, it's someone's life. Like, so I think it's important. All right.
That's our update. We'll add more about that trial once it ends.
Yes. So our next update is about a viral TikTok video that encourages kids to bring weapons to school. So you actually may know about this because I know, like, our school district sent out emails, like, this isn't a specific threat to our school, but it is, like, something to keep in mind. Mm-hmm. So basically, it was a viral TikTok video that encouraged students to bring weapons to school on Friday, December 17th, and they even called it National School Shooting Day. That's just bad, okay? Especially so soon after, like, the Michigan shooting, which was a huge thing. It was anonymous, so they don't know, like, who started it, but, like, that's definitely bad. So no specific threats, like, there were no specific threats, like, oh, this specific school in this specific state, but it was, like, law enforcement said it was concerning, but it's not credible. Basically, it's, like, something, like, we're not going to close down schools and, like,
it's like
completely panic, but it is something to be somewhat worried about, basically. Yeah. So, actually, a lot of, like, schools, like, even, like, closed, I'm not sure that if they closed down, but, like, definitely they were taking, like, security measures and precautions. Mm-hmm. And actually, a few students in California, Florida, and Texas were arrested earlier this week for allegedly making threats and bringing weapons to school, according to media reports. So, like, it's just, like, even if it's, like, you're joking, you should never joke about that. It's never something to joke about, especially not on, like, a public platform. So, so it's just not a good thing to happen. So, Dr. Amy Klinger, a co-founder of the Educator School Safety Network, was kind of talking about, like, why there's such an uprise and, like, all these different acts of violence and, like, threats. Like, at our school, I know we've had, like, increased fights and stuff like that. So she was kind of talking about, like, what's behind this, like, disruptive behavior, failing grades, outbursts. And she said, it could be multifaceted, like, it could be stuff like the trauma and isolation of, like, the pandemic and the ripple effects to mental health combined with, like, just normal reasons for these threats. Like, it's kind of, like, after we've been online for so long, like, coming back in person, it's, like, we're all a little bit crazy and, like, we're all a little bit, like, we face this scary thing, and it's, like, I think it does, like, change us, and that could be part of the reason why there's such an increase in what we're seeing. But, it's not a good thing. So definitely, like, if you see that and you don't feel comfortable, like, it's okay to just not go to school that day. Like, I know that a lot of parents were, like, worried. Like, if someone does say threat, like, even especially if it's specific to your school, stay safe. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think it's really important also to, like, notice signs of, like, students. Mm-hmm. And, like, if there's someone who's, like, having concerned behavior, like, the person who shot up the Michigan school, which we talked about in our last update, like, he was showing a lot of behavior, but it wasn't taken seriously enough, and that is what ended in the shooting.
So I think if it's, like, someone has obvious signs, or, like, they're saying obvious things that are, like, cluing to that they're gonna use violence in any way, then definitely report it. Like, don't feel like you're being a tattletale because it's serious. Like,
better safe than sorry.
Better safe than sorry, absolutely. Okay. And, like, if there's something on Instagram that you see a threat, report it. So that's important.
All right. Yes. Because, like, one life is better than, like, feeling embarrassed for being a tattletale.
Yeah, like, and you're doing the right thing, you know? Yeah. And it's like, the embarrassment will fade when you realize, that was a good choice.
Anyway, moving on to more depressing news.
Oh, wonderful.
It's important to know, though. I think it kind of just enlightens people. But anyway, we say that every time. But anyway, the Omicron
Enlighten yourself.
So actually, a lot of these updates are kind of continuations from last week's, or last to last week's. So check it out.
Or just any week.
Yeah, just any week. So Omicron, which is a newly identified COVID variant, identified first in South Africa, has made a really big mark in the U.S. already, and it's only been in the U.S. for like a week. So it's actually projected to be like one of the most transmissible variants yet, even beyond the Delta variant.
But is it, like, as dangerous, or is it, like...
I will get to that in 1 second.
Okay.
Because I actually have to talk about it a little bit. But the Omicron variant is actually going to become, like, the new leading variant, according to, like, a lot of Dr. Fauci, like,
That's
the
not
CDC.
good. Not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
So, like, many schools and businesses are actually shutting down. And Celine will talk a little bit more about that in our next update. But the Biden administration, which is, like, the president, is under a lot of pressure. And,
Yeah,
you know,
I bet.
he had a lot of previous claims, and just, like, it's just, like, kind of like a slap to the wrist. They don't know what they're going to do.
It's tough, yeah.
They really don't want to go into a lockdown again, because that kind of hurt the economy a lot. People got mad.
Yeah.
But it might lead to that. So it's really, like, thrust the White House into, like, uncertain reality of, like, public health and, like, political challenges. And a lot of people are using it as reasons to kind of discredit Biden, like, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So actually across the country, a lot of schools are shifting to remote learning. Businesses are closing earlier. They're not allowing people in after certain times. They're making everyone wear masks. It's just, like, this whole thing.
Yeah.
In fact, it also has an effect on, like, sports, because they're making football players, like, the football player, like, the games are normally on, like, a certain, like, set of days, but now they're changing it so that they're all...
Yeah, I heard they're postponing some games and, like, there's no audience allowed. Or what do you call it? People watching a sport game. Like...
Spectators?
Spectators, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. A lot of people are encouraging to get vaccinated, although there will be breakthrough cases because the vaccine isn't made for, like, the specific variant. It will definitely cause, like, it to be milder. And this is what I was talking about. So, vaccines are a great way to stay safe, and although the Omicron variant is a lot more contagious, there's actually proof that it could be more mild, too. Which is really interesting, and I actually want to, like, talk about something me and my brother were talking about the other day. But so in the influenza pandemic, which is, like, we've been compared to a lot, which was, like, the pandemic in, like, 1919?
Was that
1918?
Oh, okay.
Sometime then. It was, like, the most comparable pandemic to COVID. We see, like, similar patterns. But the thing was, like, the last wave was with the variant that was most contagious yet most mild. So that's, like, what we're seeing with the Omicron, and that's right before the pandemic ended. So people are saying that this might be, like, although it's going to kill lots and lots of people, it might be, like, the end, because we saw a similar pattern with this, like,
so kind of like the last variant after this happened, we're done, like...
I don't know if that's true.
mean,
it might not be, but...
It's so early on that it's like, we can't have a guarantee about anything,
Yeah,
so...
but it's a similar pattern to what happened with the flu, and
That's
I think that's
interesting. Yeah, that is interesting. Who knows? Maybe we'll have a future pandemic even after this, and we'll compare it to COVID.
Yes, but as all the governors are saying, please get vaccinated, because even if it won't completely protect you from Omicron, it will protect you from most likely Delta and the traditional variant, and it will make your case much more mild, so you don't have to be hospitalized.
You don't have to be hospitalized.
Yes.
Yeah, that too.
Which is a good thing.
No, we hope. Yeah.
And also, like, I just want to say, people who are like, oh, we don't trust the vaccine. Kids get vaccinated all the time. In fact, like, the governor of Colorado actually said that he, like, you have to get your kids vaccinated for, like, diphtheria, tetanus, and, like, pertussis, like, 3 different doses for, like, kind of the same disease. It's no different than that. So.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Next one is sort of ties into the Omicron. Sorry. I thought it was Omicron. Okay, Omicron variant, as we were just talking about. So Harvard, we all know Harvard.
I hope so.
Very Ivy League college, okay? Harvard has decided to go online. So Harvard University announced on Saturday it would be transitioning to remote learning for several weeks in January because of, like, an increase in cases. In a letter to the school's community, Harvard officials said that the first 3 weeks of January, quote, "We will take steps to reduce density on campus by moving much of our learning and work remotely." So, the letter noted that students who had received approval from their specific school or, like, authorization would be allowed to remain on campus. So, like, it doesn't necessarily apply to everyone, but it's the majority of the population that goes to the school. And it's a 3-week period, so... It's kind of like it's not a whole big amount of time, but it's like kind of like seeing where we're going with it, you know. So one of the main reasons behind this is Omicron, as Ahana was talking about.
Yeah.
So the U.S. is currently averaging 118,717 cases a day. Like, that's a lot, which is 40% higher than it was a month ago. Like, there's a big, like, visible increase. New York City especially is facing a lot of cases. So the levels rose from 3.9 to 7.8% for people who tested positive. In beds in intensive care units are 78% full, 1 in 5 of them being patients who have been infected with COVID. So Dr. Anthony Fauci said, quote, "The cases are going up. We have an average of about 117,000 cases. We have an increase the percentage of hospitalizations. Deaths are still over 1,000. Then you have, looking over your shoulder, the Omicron variant, which we know from what's going on in South Africa and the UK is a highly transmissible virus." So, you know, it's just very concerning. All these things adding up, like the increase in cases, Omicron coming, it's just led to, like, Harvard going online, and then Princeton University, New York University, Cornell University, and Middlebury College announced in recent days their fall semesters would conclude remotely. And as we talked about, sports teams too, so it's like a lot of people are kind of cracking down, like, because it's scary. All right,
that's it for the first half. Just stay tuned, I guess.
We'll talk more about some interesting stuff. We got tornadoes, Capitol Hill, NASA, Steph Curry, and Spider-Man.
So some pop culture mixed in with that.
Yes, so please keep tuned. Bye.
Welcome back from the break. Alright, let's get started diving right into it with some tornadoes.
Oh, fun!
Alright, so actually we've kind of experienced this all over the U.S. There's been huge weather issues.
Yeah, like big winds, scary
tornadoes.
We had to like evacuate our schools, and like some of our windows broke. It was kind of like
everyone's car's windows were broken. Like, I have pictures.
It was not good.
But it's all over the U.S. The most prominent were like in the Midwest and South, the tornadoes. They actually killed 93 people and counting.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah. There was heavy rain. There was flash flooding, which is like a big reason for the deaths. There was like 4 inches of rainfall reported in Oklahoma to Illinois. Lots of flash flooding, lots of really strong winds. Lots of people's, like, millions and millions, billions potentially of dollars were destroyed in property. Cars were destroyed. There was just like a lot of like thunderstorms as well that swept across Texas and Louisiana with like lots of winds and a couple of tornadoes. One of the hardest hit states was Kentucky, and it resulted in 77 of the 93 deaths. So 77 of those were in Kentucky.
So that's like over 50% of those deaths came from Kentucky.
Almost like a lot. Like, I'd say 80% of those deaths.
Yeah.
So the tornadoes, like, actually, like, they devastated lots of towns and homes, and it was like one of the deadliest storms in the state's history. It was an EF4 tornado, which is like, I googled it, and an EF4 tornado is like, it's like the scale of how severe a tornado is, and it's the second most severe, and it reaches winds up to 200 miles per hour. That's enough to, like, semi-trucks were falling over on the highway because of the wind.
See, that's dangerous. Like, if you're driving, especially if you're outside, that's, like, really dangerous.
No, so many semi-trucks are, like, falling over. So many accidents happened.
That's bad.
So, in Utah, like, across the western side, Utah actually had an avalanche in which, like, a skier got caught under, like, the snow.
Oh, my gosh.
Many states are still under weather alerts. And so, like, in the future, like, not in the future, but, like, this week, what is expected is, like, the worst of it is gone, which was really bad. There's, like, millions and billions of dollars in damage done to businesses and stores. But there's also, like, the threat of heavy rain in the Ohio Valley today. There's also, like, a couple of storms expected in the south, affecting up to 6 million people. And the northeast is expected to, like, move up to the northeast, in which there will be a lot more wind and a lot of snow. They'll have, like, a winter storm, and it's just going to sweep across the coasts specifically. They're thinking, like, coastal Texas, Southwest Louisiana, and then up in like New York and New Jersey, all the way up there. So yeah, it's just gonna. And also, there's like a new storm that's moving up into the Pacific Northwest.
Oh my goodness!
With,
Isn't it called
heavy rain?
Isn't there
snow,
some
and gusty
Cyclone Ray or something?
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah,
the last time we had a cyclone was like 5 years ago. And a cyclone is like a really, really bad blizzard, by the way.
Yeah.
It's really...
I don't know if Cyclone Ray is even in the U.S., to be honest. No, it might not be. Okay,
like
I'm thinking of something
Hong Kong.
completely different.
No, I don't think it's cyclone.
Sorry.
But there's just a lot of bad things.
Okay, yeah, for sure. All right, so the next, yeah, this one's bad too. Okay, no. I mean, okay, so a Capitol Hill rioter is facing 5 years in jail. So this is the longest sentence by far for anyone involved in the insurrection. So we actually made an episode about the January 6th insurrection, which was when a group of people who were like Trump supporters basically stormed the Capitol because they felt the election was like stolen and fraudulent. So they were trying to like restore their rights. What?
Fraudulent. Fancy words.
I know, right? I like being fancy. I can't even say the word fancy. Okay, anyways. So they thought it was, like, fraudulent, so they were trying to, like, restore their rights. I don't know. But anyways, a Florida man named Robert Scott Palmer attacked police at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, and he was sentenced to over 5 years in prison, the longest sentence anyone involved in the riot so far. He is the first person to be sentenced for the felony of assaulting an officer with a dangerous weapon.
Oh,
so
wow.
he was actually tracked down by online sleuths. So online sleuths are like people who search the internet for like information about people or events basically, and they tracked him down by pictures and videos, and that's how they like found out he was involved in the attack and he was the person. So he sprayed a line of police officers with a fire extinguisher during the attack. Hit them with poles, and he also used wooden planks too.
Oh.
So he was shot in the stomach with a rubber bullet, so like it wasn't meant to like be harmful or like kill him, but it was meant to deter him. But I mean, it didn't entirely. Yeah, but anyways, during the hearing, Palmer said that he saw TV host Rachel Maddow do a segment about his case on MSNBC and was, quote, horrified, absolutely devastated to see himself on there, just to see the coldness and calculation going up those steps with the fire extinguisher to spray those officers. So basically, he was not proud of what he did. He regrets it. He looks back and he's like, that was not something
like the bottom line is, regardless of like your beliefs, you should respect other people and not assault them for doing their job.
And so many rioters who are like facing charges say like, I absolutely regret what I did during the moment. I was like, yes, I'm doing it. Like I'm so righteous. But like now I'm like, I never should have done that. Like, so he said in a letter to the judge that he now realizes former President Donald Trump, quote, lied to supporters about the election. Scores of police during this event were beaten and bloodied. Like, so many people died, and it was just not a good event. So, like, I think it's important that these people are charged, and I think it does help them have a different perspective, like, feel some sense of regret for what they did, which I think is good, because it's important for growth.
I mean, like, these grown adults should know how to deal with conflict without, like, rioting.
Absolutely. And we talked about this in a whole episode, like, why this is such an issue in society, like, the reason behind this stuff, and, like, how we can find other ways to express our opinions without, like, rioting at the Capitol and, like, using violence, basically. So
yeah, there's like so many other healthier ways that just get your point across and make you sound like a logical person rather than.
And I think no one's gonna listen to you. The point of you sharing your opinion is for other people to listen to you. If you're sharing it in like a violent way, no one's gonna respect you because you're going out here violently, like using weapons to like express your opinion. So if you want people to listen, speak. Use words. Words are more powerful than punching someone, you know what I'm saying? So
there's definitely a lot more healthier ways to express, and I think I think it's a good lesson for younger generations just to see that, like,
I mean, obviously it's a bad example, but it, like, the example they set for kids is bad, but the, like, lesson. What we can learn from it is good.
Okay,
basically.
So all in all, just express your opinions through words and just being respectful
and actions too, and as long as it's like peaceful. Like, you can protest peacefully but not violently. You know? Like,
I think just like being respectful and open-minded is a big thing.
That's
but anyway,
for sure. All right.
Next, on to like some more uplifting news for the next 3 updates.
Yay!
Actually, the NASA one, is that uplifting?
That's uplifting. It's a big milestone.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's
So
very
the next
uplifting.
3 updates are uplifting.
Yay!
So,
Finally.
I'm kind of a basketball fan, not gonna lie.
Oh, I would
I
never be able to tell.
I don't like watch every basketball game ever, but I do watch a good amount of them. And I haven't been able to as much because we don't have the TV server for it. But I watch the YouTube highlights all day. So
Okay.
my favorite team is the Warriors. I've been a fan since 2018.
Not this again.
I love the Warriors. And recently, Steph Curry passed the score for the most 3-pointers made in NBA history.
Wow.
Insane.
Wow, Steph.
Everyone in the sports world
That's
is
actually
just
pretty
celebrating.
impressive, though. Like,
It's so impressive.
that's like,
And the
I don't
biggest-
know much about it, but that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Like that.
One of the biggest things that they're talking about is the previous record holder was Ray Allen.
Mhm.
I think. Where did I write that? Yeah, Ray Allen. So Ray Allen was actually he is retired now, but he had 2,983 3-pointers made by the end of his career. And Steph Curry was
Wow.
he's played maybe hundreds of less games than he has, yet he already surpassed him in numbers of 3-pointers made.
Jeez.
So they're projecting by the time that he ends his career, he's gonna be almost double of the previous record holder.
That's pretty awesome.
That's insane. He's
Wow.
insane. He's the best shooter ever. So
Yeah.
he is a 33-year-old and he has a wife and 2 children, and his wife is very
Aw.
successful as well. He beat the score by making an astounding 2,974 3-pointers. Ray Allen, the previous record holder, actually celebrated with him on the court by watching
Aw.
his game, and he made him a custom jersey that said 2,974 on it in representation of how many
That's
3-pointers he
sweet.
made. It's really cute. He actually made his own collection of merchandise available at 2974sc.com. And the Warriors, the team that he plays for, are expected to be one of the top teams in the NBA.
Wow.
Against I think the Warriors and the Suns are kind of on equal playing with them, and the Suns are another top NBA team this season. So if they win, Curry is expected to be the most valuable player, the MVP, which is an award.
Wow.
And he will definitely go down in history's most famous players. I think something
That's awesome.
a lot of people were commending him on it. Of course, I was really excited. But I think just to show how amazing he's playing this season, there's a former player, Shaquille O'Neal, Shaq, as people know him by. He was I think he's one of the top 10 players of history. He's insanely good, and he's huge. He's 7'4" or something. I don't know. He's insanely tall.
Wow.
He's a giant. But he is a Lakers veteran, and so he played for the Lakers, and he's a Lakers fan, obviously, because if you play.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't
But
want
he
to betray
literally
the team.
said that he would much rather watch Steph Curry than the Lakers because he's doing 10 times better. He's yeah, I'd rather watch Steph Curry now because the Lakers are failing. So.
I mean, that
That
tells
just
you a
goes to
lot.
show how good
That
Steph
tells
Curry
you
is.
a lot.
But anyway, he'll go down in history as one of the best players of all time. So, congrats
That's
to
exciting for Steph Curry. And his family.
Yeah, and me. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no.
Okay.
You are not his family, okay? You wish.
I'm a fan. Okay, it's great. He's just a good person, and I think he's a really good player. And his daughters and sons are so cute. Or son. But and his wife.
What a terrible fan. You didn't know how many kids he has?
He has 3 kids, 2 daughters, 1 son. I knew that.
Okay. Of course, obviously.
Yeah.
How could I doubt you? Okay. Anyways, thank you for that. Next one is a NASA probe touched the sun.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Whoa.
The upper atmosphere. So basically the sun. That's what.
Okay, that's not the sun though. That's
Whatever. That's what my news update said. They said the sun, aka it's actually called the corona. So not that corona.
That's
Okay.
ironic.
So anyways, a NASA spacecraft became the first spacecraft to quote touch the sun and was announced on Tuesday. This is a gigantic milestone. NASA has been working at this for so long. The spacecraft was called the Parker Solar Probe, and it flew through the sun's upper atmosphere. That's exciting.
Oh.
So it was launched 3 years ago in an effort to better understand the sun, because if we can make it into the sun's atmosphere, we can better like, see the inner workings of it. And something we've been, like, wanting to know for a while, like, the corona is the atmosphere of the sun. The corona is actually hotter than the sun itself.
Oh.
So, like, that's something we've been trying to, like, understand for a long time. So this will help us basically better understand all these mysteries about the sun, stuff like that. It'll help scientists, like, learn a lot about our solar system. So it's, yeah. So basically, the structure of the sun, it doesn't have a surface. Solar material just flows, like, out from the surface, but around it, there's, like, a strong gravity and a magnetic field that holds it together, basically, in the form that it is. The material flows from the atmosphere, which is called the corona, and some of this material escapes the sun as the form of solar wind. So the spacecraft went into the corona and touched solar material bound to the sun. So there's this boundary, basically, where all solar material, like, on one side is, like, tethered to the sun, and on the other side it, like, flows freely as solar wind, and it crossed this boundary into the corona, where it's basically tethered to the sun. So it's really a big deal that they crossed this boundary.
I wonder how they made it so it, like, didn't melt or something.
I don't know, actually. That's like a really good question. But yeah, the first proposition of, like, sending a spacecraft to the sun was in 1958. And like, now we've achieved it, which is pretty awesome. The instrument shows, like, pictures from inside the corona, and it's like, it also discovered, like, switchbacks that occur in patches, like, across the sun, and it's just really interesting. Like, we've already learned a lot about it from this, so it's
Good
pretty
job,
awesome.
NASA.
Yay, NASA.
Love you
NASA's
for that.
smart. Like, NASA's really
I mean,
smart.
come on now. They're, like, the best.
NASA's awesome. We love NASA.
What was, like, Elon Musk's Space Force was trying to, like, SpaceX?
Oh, yeah.
They were trying to rival NASA, but I don't think they can.
Sorry, can't beat NASA.
Actually, maybe they can. But
yeah, actually. Well,
no, they can't.
hey, Elon Musk is
In my
smart
heart,
too,
they
but,
can't.
like,
I mean, he's a genius, but
NASA's a
just
genius.
NASA.
NASA's a collection of geniuses.
NASA's just
you know?
known for being the space thing.
NASA stands for never ask something again.
Anyway.
I was gonna make it into some, like, genius thing, but don't listen.
Anyway.
Alright.
The last news update is about another pop culture thing. Spider-Man No Way Home is out. It released Thursday, and it is it had the third biggest opening night, beating the 2015 Star Wars The Force Awakens.
Jeez.
It already made $253 million. That's like $250 million.
Oh my goodness.
Insane to me.
Yeah, and if you don't know, Zendaya and Tom Holland, which are, like, both very famous actors, are, like, stars in it. So
Yeah,
I think that's one of the main reasons, because, like, when there's, like, recognizable faces, you
Yeah,
just
and
want
people
to watch
just
them.
love Marvel so much.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never even watched Marvel.
Okay, that's it. You're
no, I think
disgraced to
wait.
society.
I might have watched, like, part of it.
I hate
I
you.
don't remember.
Anyway.
Yeah,
Here's the thing. I watched every single movie because my mom and my brother are, like, insane about Marvel, and so I just, like, kind of went with them. And I've slowly grown. It's grown on me, and now I like it, so, yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, it's had a debut. It's insane. It's had the third biggest opening night.
That's
like, opening
exciting.
weekend.
I mean, good for that movie, you know?
It
Like,
soars, and especially in COVID, I think that's impressive. Although
Yeah.
it might lead to, like, it's.
I mean, it could not be impressive when the cases go up. But
I
hey.
guess it's good for the movie people, and
Yeah.
I think my brother's actually watching it today.
Are you gonna watch it too?
I wanted to, but he literally didn't even buy. He, like, bought tickets for himself and his friends without telling us. Actually,
That's
his friends bought
painful.
tickets for him, but whatever.
How dare his friends not invite you?
Hey, I know exactly, and so I don't think I'm gonna watch it just because of Omicron.
Probably at some point you can watch it, like, rent it or something.
Yeah, because I feel like now that I couldn't watch it on, like, opening night, so now I'll just wait for, like, it to be out on Redbox or something. But
yeah.
anyway, that's
All right. That's cool. Okay, so we had some interesting updates. We had dark ones, violent ones, and then
Hopefully
we had nice
we ended
ones.
it off
So
on a good note.
yeah. Any fun news? Cause,
My fun news is that Christmas is, like, on this Saturday. So Merry
That's
Christmas.
exciting.
We'll also have an episode on Friday.
And
like,
or
on
whatever
Christmas.
holiday you celebrate, you know.
Oh yeah, like Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas,
Even
Happy
if you
Holidays.
don't celebrate any of those, just
Yeah,
happy
happy
winter break.
whatever it is to you.
Happy
you know?
days. You know.
Yes.
Just
absolutely.
enjoy some winter weather. If you're in Australia, enjoy some summer weather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for listening. I don't really have any more fun news besides, holidays, break time,
Yeah.
food.
Follow us. check out all of our social medias. You know the drill. They'll all be in our bio.
In our bios. So thank you so much for listening.
Check
Hope
out
you
our
have
website.
an amazing week.
Email us and DM us if you have
We'd
any
love to hear from you.
updates or like things that you want us to talk about.
Yes.
Follow
Thank
us.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Bye.